preseason and the offseason. Do you have any ideas, Brian, what you should do? Obviously, I feel minimizing either the OTAs or the actual preseason games. But, I mean, like we just said, the preseason games haven't even started. We already got 46 injuries. What do you think they should do to change something?
Well, we got 40 season out for the season injuries. We have probably another 150 listed injuries, whether it be 8 weeks or questionable, missing practice.
Wow.
46 out for the season, yes. It's a tough call to say, what they should do as far as trying to make it better so people aren't getting hurt as much. Because if you say, all right, well, let's limit them even more and not let them touch the field, then they're going to be getting hurt, as soon as the regular season starts. I believe there should be restriction on letting them practice. If they want to practice for, 5 weeks before preseason starts, let them. That way they're in better shape and they don't come into OTAs. And then all of a sudden they're running full speed and they're, doing full drills right away. Let them have optional practices to get in shape like that. Because not everybody has the drive to be working out every day and make sure that they're still in football shape. Some people use that off season to heal and to, lounge around, take vacations with families and stuff, and they're not in football shape when they come back. As soon as they come back, they got to run sprints that pop a hammy. They're done for the season. So those are things that I think could be done to help the injuries. And I also think that limiting it to 2 preseason games, find out what you have to find out there, but don't limit their practicing. That way, everybody that's going to get cut still has their time to try to make a mark. Let them do scrimmages and stuff like that, but 2 preseason games, and don't limit them even being able to practice with their team.
Now, do you still play the starters in those 2 preseason games?
That would be totally up to the coaches. If they think, all right, well, we need to get our together in game like situations, then yeah, go ahead and start them. But if I was in that position, I would say, all right, well, we're going to have 3 scrimmages, and we're going to have our, starters playing those, and it's not going to be full contact, but it's going to be, full go, full speed. But it's, as far as playing them in the games, I wouldn't. I would probably do maybe a quarter, if that, in both of them, and then let the other players try to fight for the spots in those 2 games, and then have just one cut date. Don't have the whole cut it from, 90 to 53? Or is it 90 to 70 to 53? I think it's 90 to 70 to 53. I think that would be something, just do a one-cut date, go from 90 to 53 by this time, and that way you can give them more time to try to make their mark during practices and scrimmages.
That's definitely something that the NFL needs to look at. I mean, 46 players out for the season. That's almost one entire football team. Put that in perspective. We want to hear from you. Go ahead after you listen to this podcast. Hit us up on Twitter or on Facebook at BenchCasters, or find us on our website at benchcasters.com. Brian, one more thing to talk about. We had a lot of preseason injuries. Quarterback situations happening. There's also another battle being happened, and that's suspensions. For example, Falcons cornerback Jalen Collins has been suspended for using PEDs. That is the second year in a row he has had some sort of suspension. And he's not the only one, Brian. How many suspensions do we have going on right now?
Well, we have 31 suspensions that are going to affect this year's season. We have 2 that are carrying over, as far as Carlos Williams, who's now with Pittsburgh, but was suspended when he was in Buffalo, and Central Henderson, that's a tackle for Buffalo, are also going to be carrying over their suspension from week 12 and 13 last year. They had 10-game suspensions, so they will start the season with a couple. And then we have quite a few others. Most of them are for substance abuse. We have one incident that is not substance abuse. It is just team misconduct, and that's Adam Jones back at it again in Cincinnati.
You would feel that they would, with Adam Jones, for example, like after a certain amount of times, the guy would be done. But he still finds a way to make on teams.
Well, Adam Jones actually went, I want to say, 3 years without any incidents. So I don't know if that's a rule that it just cancels out and he starts over again, or what. He only got a 1-week suspension, and it was just for a team incident. It wasn't anything that involved, police or anything like that. So I think it was mainly just the team saying, all right, well, you need to still stay in line, so we're going to sit you out a week.
Brian, out of all the suspensions that are going on in the NFL already, and you already talked about the injuries, we've already talked about the really big impact injuries. What is probably the biggest impact of a suspension for one team?
For one suspension, I'm going to have to say it's Doug Martin at Tampa Bay. They don't really have another halfback that's going to step in right away and be able to do what he does. And we've seen that with the end of last year when he was not there. They kind of fell off a little bit offensively. He's going to be sitting out the first 4 weeks of this year, so he'll get back in time to help him out. But those 4 games, they're going to be one-dimensional. But it's hard to look past somebody like Dallas, who has 5 suspensions, and they have 2 people that are out for the entire season, in Rolando McClain and Randy Gregory. It's weird to say, but all Dallas' suspensions are all on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know what they're doing down there in Dallas that are liking the knuckleheads on defense, but they have 5, and they're all on the defensive side of the ball. There are 6 players that are currently unsigned because of suspensions, and no team wants to take them on while they're suspended. So we might see a few more signings after the first 4 weeks of the season. Someone like Jamarcus Webb. He's a tackle that I know Seattle was looking at until they found out he was going to be suspended for substance abuse. So we might see another couple signings after the first 4 weeks. But there's quite a few that are on Dallas' defense that I think are going to hurt them this year.
Well, hopefully we don't see a lot more signings because of injuries. I'm still, just in shock over that number already. I want the NFL to do something about that. Brian, I thank you for your time. That's all we have for today. You've been great as always, and I'm sure we'll hear more from you in time to come. I need you to get something ready for me. Next episode, we're going to be talking about the AFC predictions, and then the episode after that, we'll be talking NFC. So get your Super Bowl predictions ready, because it's going to happen. We're going to do it super early, and then we'll probably do it again right after preseason, and we're going to track it all the way through. And we want to hear your Super Bowl predictions here at BenchCasters, so hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or at our website at benchcaster.com. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it all.
Always a pleasure.
And that'll do it for us here at BenchCaster today. Looking forward for you to hearing our next episode. Stick around, stay tuned, and thanks for listening here at BenchCasters.